This podcast is about my journey of healing and inner growth. I'm not giving medical advice or suggesting anything that may not be legal where you live. Please do your own research and consult a professional. I'm simply sharing what's helped me along the way. Welcome back to Microdose U. I am Dr. David Maddow. And I spent a lot of time on this show talking about psilocybin and even more recently LSD. I've shared my story, my healing, and the countless benefits that these sacred medicines can bring when used intentionally and respectfully. But today I want to go a little bit off the usual path, not too far, don't worry, just a tiny bit. And I want to talk about something probably a bit more mainstream, actually, and a little more legal, and maybe even a little bit more surprising. Cannabis, specifically microdosing cannabis. Now, before you go, wait, what? Cannabis? That's just for getting high and listening to Sgt. Pepper by the Beatles. If you think that, hang with me for a second, because what if I told you that you could use cannabis in such a small, precise way, you don't get high at all, but you do get some pretty interesting benefits. That's what I'm going to be speaking with. Guess what I'm going to be getting into today, I should say. Microdosing cannabis is exactly what it sounds like. Using a very small amount, usually about maybe 1 to 2 milligrams of THC, sometimes combined with CBD, and using it intentionally. It's not about zoning out. It's not about being stoned. It's about tuning in. For some people, microdosing cannabis works very similarly to how microdosing psilocybin or LSD works. A gentle lift, a sense of ease, maybe some emotional softening, and even some creativity. I'm talking about amounts so small that most people wouldn't even notice if they took it by accident. But when you work intentionally, work with that dose intentionally, something starts to shift. Something starts to change. Now, you may be thinking, well, what are the benefits of microdosing cannabis? I'm glad you asked. I'm going to go over a few of the top benefits I've experienced, either personally or in people that I've worked with. So I've got a little bullet point list. I'll just go over them with you. And I think it's very, very interesting. So number one is relief from anxiety without pharmaceuticals. This is huge. This is why so many of you are here. For people who carry a lot of nervous energy also and low-level tension, that was absolutely me. Microdosing cannabis can take just enough of the edge off. And unlike high doses, it doesn't usually flip into weird states like spiraling mind loops and stuff like that. That doesn't happen. Nothing like that. Number two, increasing creativity, especially with a sativa dominant strain. I've seen people step into that slightly enhanced space. The ideas just start coming at you easier, and conversations flow easier. And their brain just feels, I don't know, should I say, like a little more alive. It's kind of like opening the window and letting in some fresh air, fresh breeze. I would say that I have absolutely experienced this as far as creativity. Cannabis can definitely make someone, and especially me, more creative. There's no argument for me at all there. Number three, better sleep. Some microdosers they microdose cannabis during the day, and they report better sleep at night. And I don't know, this might be due to reduced cortisol or a more balanced nervous system. I'm not positive, but it does work. And others might microdose like a low THC and high CBD blend right before bed. Either way, it's nothing like a sleeping pill. Sleeping pills, in my opinion, are not safe, and so many people are on them. This is more just like an easing in, if you will. Number 4, gentle physical pain relief. A tiny amount of THC, especially combined with some CBD, has been shown to help with things like joint pain, inflammation, menstrual cramps, migraines. And again, this is without knocking you out or dulling your senses in any way. So I actually microdosed some THC this morning. My knees were hurting a fair amount after walking a pretty good amount over the past few days and actually doing a little hiking as well. So I'm going to let you know how that goes. But I absolutely would microdose THC for some joint pain. Absolutely. Number 5, increased emotional awareness. This one's perhaps a little more subtle, but really meaningful. A tiny dose can sometimes just open up the heart a little bit, make it easier to pause before reacting, make a walk feel more present, or even help you appreciate something you might have overlooked in your day. I think this one is really powerful. Number 6, it enhances the connection to movement and flow during physical activity. A microdose of cannabis before a hike, a ski day, yoga class, even before going to the gym can help heighten body awareness, reduce performance anxiety, and bring a sense of presence and flow. I have done this at sound baths, sensory deprivation tank sessions, and yes, it is incredible. I think I've reported to you some of these things in the past as well. Many people just report feeling more in tune with their breath and rhythm and their surroundings. Remember, I've said it before, I'll say that it's super important. It's not about getting high. It's about feeling more alive during the movement. I oftentimes microdose psilocybin before skiing or even going to an Orange Theory class. I'm now going to try microdosing cannabis, and I'm just going to see how that goes. I mean, I'll let you know if I think it's any better, worse, the same, or whatever. I'll definitely report back to you on that. So I truly believe for people who are curious, intentional, and looking for a gentle tool to add to their mental wellness practice, cannabis microdosing can really be a good option. Just like with mushrooms or LSD, it's all about the setting, and dosage. Start low, stay aware, and always remember this isn't about escaping. It's about connecting. Personally, when I microdose cannabis, I treat it the same way I treat psilocybin, with respect. I set an intention. I use a journal. I carry my journal everywhere. I make notes. I've told you about this in the past. Super important. I've had days where I just feel a little bit more tuned in. I listen better. I notice beauty. I speak slower. You couldn't do that if you're high. It's about being aware, and that's my whole point here. So if you've never thought about cannabis this way, maybe this episode gives you just a little something extra to consider. Maybe it opens a new door. I don't know. Maybe it confirms that it's not for you. And that's totally fine too. Either way, the more you know, the better. Knowledge is power, and options always matter. And if you're already microdosing cannabis, or if you try it after this episode, I'd love to hear about it. Hit me up over on YouTube, Patreon. Let's keep this conversation honest, helpful, and human. Now, let's get to a question or two from the mailbag. First question from Gucci Bucket Hat. Just had my first bad trip and I went crazy in the city screaming. Gucci Bucket Hat. First of all, I'm sorry to hear that. I am the first thing that screams right out at me is that you did not uh, do this with the proper set and setting. If you did it with the proper set and setting, I don't think you'd be out in the street in the city screaming. Now, I feel bad that you had a bad trip, and also remember, everything we know about this medicine is there's no such thing as a bad trip. If you're in the proper setting at home, maybe listening to music, relaxing, just getting more in your space and understanding your space, then you might this quote unquote bad trip may have actually taught you something. There may have been something that came out and said, this is what's been going on in my life. This is what it's been. But the fact that you were outside in the street, city, screaming, I feel bad, but I don't think you got the proper therapeutic value from the trip. So next time, maybe get with somebody to help you, or just go it alone at home, or in a sacred setting, or one that you have a real intention. And I almost promise you that your experience will be better. Some people say, well, you should always have a trip sitter. Well, I would not necessarily agree with that. I think experienced dosers, experienced people that are experienced with psychedelics don't necessarily need trip sitters. Again, depending on the doses they're doing. But if you're inexperienced, then yes, that trip sitter is probably always a good thing. Just to have somebody there with you that can support you and help you out if you get into a situation like this, and not let you run through the streets of the city screaming. Trippy Medicines Inc. says, if you want your psilocybin, Dr. Sveralini's got you covered. Check his Insta out at, well, I'm not going to give you the Instagram address. That would be crazy, because when you see, and this is on YouTube, but when you see a message like this, a comment, a post, something on Instagram, whatever it might be, then I will tell you, it's chances are 99% possibility it's a scammer. It's somebody that's going to rip you off. It's somebody that's going to take your money. It's somebody that's going to get access to your Venmo or whatever. Please, please do not purchase this medicine from somebody that you don't know, especially somebody that just posts something like this on my YouTube channel or somewhere. Never, I'm going to repeat, never attempt to buy your medicine from somebody like this, and or somebody that you don't know. If you have absolutely no idea what to do, and you're new at this and you just don't know where, we don't discuss this on the podcast. I don't discuss it on social media. The only exception I ever make, and again, I please take this very seriously, on my Patreon page. On my Patreon page, we do discuss this, and we do have some trusted. Well, I won't go any further than that here. I don't like to, I only like to talk about this on Patreon. So head on over there if you're not sure. One thing I will say about my Patreon is that I don't really want people there only to find out about trusted sources and then they leave. It's not what this Patreon thing is all about. We've got a whole bunch of members there that are paying every month. It's a very small amount, but they're paying every month. And we're like one big family. And we do live meetings. It's really great. And we really prefer not to have the type of person that just wants to come on quickly, grab some information, and get off. That's not what we're looking for. So if you're looking for something really cool, hang out with us long term, go to patreon.com/Microdose U. The link's always in the show notes, by the way. Thanks for joining me today. If you got something out of this episode, share it with someone that you love. And remember, I do have a brand new episode every Wednesday. If you like what you're hearing, please like, share, and subscribe. Check the show notes for great resources, especially our free 5-part course on microdosing for beginners. Yes, absolutely free. And as I was just talking about live meetings on Patreon, which they're really unbelievable. We discuss the things that are not discussed anywhere else. Follow the link in the show notes to join us on Patreon. And I recently spoke about how I walked into my annual physical after taking magic mushrooms. It's an episode that you don't want to miss. If you want to check it out, I'm pointing to it right here on YouTube. If you're on Apple, Spotify, or others, I'll put it in the show notes. As always, Stay curious, stay open, and keep walking this healing path, one microdose at a time. I am Dr. Dave, Microdose U. I do love you.